Welcome back to the NWR Virtual Healthcare Day for November 2021. I am Finn Blake, and up next we have PainChek. PainChek is an Australian-based company that develops pain assessment technologies. Its PainChek technology is a smartphone-based medical device using artificial intelligence to assess and score pain levels in real time and update medical records in the cloud. PainChek's technology can be used with adults who are unable to effectively verbalize their pain, such as people with dementia, as well as children who have not yet learned to speak. Presenting today will be the Managing Director and CEO, Philip Daffas. Philip has more than 25 years experience working in various major healthcare markets, including in the US, Europe, and Australia. He's formerly VP of Global Marketing at Cochlear and General Management with Roche Diagnostics and Biorad Laboratories. I'd love to hand over to Philip, but before I do, I will just say that if anyone in the audience would like to submit a question for the Q&A session at the end of the presentation, please do type it in using the Q&A panel on your screen at any time throughout the presentation. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Philip.
Thank you, Finn, and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your time to come to this conference today. I will be presenting most information from our recent quarterly updates and providing any relevant updates as we go through. So that'll be the process for this morning. And as Finn says, PainChek is a novel medical device company, and we do have technology that's actually in aged care, but also moving into segments such as hospitals and into the home care sector. I'm just going to just excuse me a second, I'll move the slide. So quick corporate overview. So PainChek it comes in the form of an app. We use artificial intelligence and machine learning to assess pain, and we have a software as a service business model. The infant and adult apps are now both clinically validated and regulatory cleared for use, and they're being used now in up to 6 global markets with the US FDA in process. We've also got patents granted in multiple markets. In the past few years, we've successfully entered the Australian domestic markets in aged care, with more than 1,500 aged care facilities and 120,000 plus beds under contract, and we have sales in the UK, Singapore, and New Zealand. Being a pure software technology, we have strong gross margins of 80 to 85%, and of course, our key focus is improving the health and improving workflows for our clients, their patients, and their residents. So our initial purpose and our current purpose was to give a voice to those who can't verbalize their pain. On one extreme, there's those people living with dementia who've either lost their ability to reliably verbalize their pain, or where their underlying pain-related behaviors are misdiagnosed and at times treated with the wrong medications, such as psychotropic drugs. On the other extreme, there are infants and young children who are pre-verbal, and where healthcare professionals and parents alike are unable to distinguish whether a child is crying or due to their pain or for any other reasons. And our mission is to provide them with an objective tool, an objective measure that addresses those needs. Now, these are very large global markets, and there's more than 50 million people with dementia. This is growing to 75 million by 2025. And these people typically occupy more than 1/3 of hospital beds at any one time, as people with dementia can triangulate between aged care, home care, and hospital sector. Now that's a big market, but even bigger is the pre-verbal children's market. The infant market dwarfs the dementia market of 400 pre-verbal children at any one time, of which 140 million are infants. That means less than 1 year of age. But we started with our adult app back in 2017. Because that's where the need, and we started in aged care, because that's where the need for better pain assessment is greater. Up to 60% of people living in aged care are living with dementia or cognitive impairment and are unable to reliably verbalize their pain. In addition, 80% of those residents suffer with chronic pain. So this is a big area. Now, as part of our goal to be a pain assessment solution for all people, we recently launched the PainChek Universal System. And this was based on client demand and feedback. This combines the core PainChek technology to assess those who can't verbalize their pain, along with the numeric rating scale system to document the pain score for those who can self-report their pain. In addition to these, we've also introduced PainChek Analytics, which documents all pain scores from all our clients, enabling PainChek to be a full enabler of best practice pain management for our residents and our clients. It also makes this a much more valuable tool, as it's a truly universal pain assessment tool for every person, whether it be at home, the hospital, aged care, or any other environment. So, one thing, as October last month in October, it marked 5 years since we actually developed the company. And just for the background, it does take up to 10 years for a novel medical device to be successfully developed and commercialized. I saw that time frame when I was working with Cochlear, which I joined in the 90s, but it took me 10 years really to go from the basic research development to having a final working product and a commercial product. And I saw that similar sort of time frame for blood glucose monitoring for people's diabetes, and I worked with Roche and Boehringer Ingelheim in Europe. Now, as you will see from this presentation, we're on the cusp of achieving multiple market successes in just 5 years, in which I would add if we spent the last 2 years in a global pandemic. So we listed back in 2016 the research products, and we had some early clinical data. In 2017, we developed the commercial app. We gained initial clearances, regulatory clearances, and publications. We formalized the technology license for the AI technology, and we completed our first sale right into 2017. Our first sale, that was to a 50-bed aged care home in Barossa Valley, called Barossa Village, and that was a value of around $2,500 ARR. And I know that really well because I did that sale. I was probably the CEO and sales manager. I was everything at the time. We were a very, very small company. So that was our genesis back in the end of 2017. I just want to show you very quickly what we've done in the last 4 years on one slide. So today we have 120,000 beds across 4 countries and an ARR, an annualized recurring revenue of over $5.5 million once everyone transitions off the government funding that currently got onto paid contracts. Now, this bar chart shows you the progression of beds over time, and the orange line shows the growth in our ARR over time. Now, what's interesting is we got to 1,000 beds by September 2018 and 10,000 beds by June 19, and that was off our own track. So we've proven the commercial model and the product back then. In fact, that led to the government coming in with the funding to allow us to accelerate the product across multiple aged care facilities in Australia, which is what we've done. We've now got 6% penetration of the domestic residential aged care markets, and that's given us that strong market position. Now, as you see from this chart as well, there's always a lag period between signing up the client and implementation. That's normal. It's caused by time-poor clients who are waiting for integrations, a number of things. But this is standard practice. But we've now got more than 50,000 beds implemented, and our plans to grow that to over 100,000 beds by the end of FY22. We are becoming the most popular clinical tool in aged care. Our ARR, as you can see, is going from $2,500 up to $5.5 million, and that's purely in Australia, which is 2% of our global markets. So some major achievements. The other thing we've done as well is we've integrated with now 11 care management systems in Australia, which means that when you do a PainChek assessment, point of care, using the technology, the app, the camera-based technology, it automatically documents into the care management system in the aged care facility. That's a great reflection of client demand, and through our partners who recognise that PainChek is a key requirement in aged care. I would add one thing is those clients or those partners of ours are also in the home care setting. So as we move into home care, we've already got a lot of the integrationist aspects worked out. As you can see, they're also integrated in the UK, Canada, and New Zealand. So we are doing this on an international basis. This gives you a simple summary of where we are in Australia. This is a summary of the number of aged care clients we have, not facilities, but the number of clients, which means that PainChek's not just in every state, not just in every city, we're effectively in every town in Australia where there's aged care facility. And this picture shows that our brand awareness also is growing significantly at this time. This is a summary of the growth of our ARR. And again, the ARR of 5.67 million is normalized post the trial. But of course, what this really means is that this value shows we've got a proven business model, and this value would cover the core cost of our operational base in Australia. And again, I'll just reiterate, Australia's 2% of the global prison and aged care market, so we have a very, very cost-effective and very, very future profitable business. This shows you our growth in beds over time. As you can see, we had a very large quarter in June, which was the end of the government grant. We signed up more than 600 racks and 50,000 beds. We've now got more than 53,000 beds implemented, and we have a very aggressive plan and training program to implement the remaining beds over the next 6 to 12 months. So again, a really, really positive progress from that. One thing we also do track, we track our commercial paying clients, those who are actually implemented but on the government grant, and those who are yet to transition across. And as you can see, we do this with the beds and with the ARR, and we report this quarterly. So we're close to $1 million in actual transition beds onto our normal contracts. We've got close to 2 million actually implemented on government grant, and then 3 million still being implemented on the government grant. So this will continue to increase over the next period, translating it to a fully paid license base. Now, one question often asked is, do clients transition to PainChek paid contracts post the grants? This is a summary of a client that actually was with us before the grant, during the grant, and now post the grants. So if you look at the left-hand side, this client is a big aged care facility, signed up with us in December 2018, 3,300 beds across 45 facilities. And as you can see from the dark green, we started rolling out, just again, standard process, to their aged care facilities up to December 2019. We had around 1,500 beds rolled out. When we got the government contract, they basically took advantage of the contract. So you can see the orange line, our ARR dropped for 1 year period between March 20 to March 21. We carried out rolling the product and we were paid by the government during that period. As of June 21, we've now gone back to our normalized payment terms. We're now paying the full commercial rate, and we are now in the process. We've now achieved something like 2,500 beds rolled out, and by the end of this year, they'll be fully rolled out, and that will be a value to us of $170,000 per annum. Just to give you a good example of a client who's with us pre, during, and post the government grant. Now, the other thing that happened in the last 2 years due to COVID is that we were forced to transition to a fully digital delivery of our sales and service, which actually has been remarkably good for our operating costs. We've reduced our costs significantly. And we've hardly entered a single aged care residential aged care facility since March 2020, yet we've achieved all the numbers I've just talked about. So this new digital delivery is a real strategic benefit for globalising our business. And this summarises the 4 steps of the program. So we engage and sell first, we implement and train second, we track the utility, and then we support our clients. So if you look at selling right now, we do all our selling through Teams and Zoom and digital marketing, lead generation, and the content with websites. We can do live demonstrations of our app to our clients online, and we've recently completed sales in New Zealand purely through video conferencing. So the measure of success is downloads. As you can see from this chart here, after sale, a client downloads the app. As you can see from this, we've had more than 14,000 unique downloads over a 4-year period from signed up contracts. So this shows you good sales process. Training as well. Since COVID came in, we've transitioned to face-to-face training, from face-to-face training in aged care facilities to e-learning and online platforms. Since June 20, when COVID really hit us, we've trained more than 6,000 clients on this basis. It saves times, it saves costs, and you know what? Our clients are getting used to it now, and they like it. So it becomes a very, very efficient way of training carers and nurses. The other thing we do is what's really important for us is to track clinical utility. How well is the app being used? How often it's being used? Now, we store every single pain assessment on our portal, and we're building the largest pain database in the world. So what this does is it allows us to track utility by each and every aged care facility. Now, we have account managers who follow this closely, and if there's a drop-off or a change, we keep in close contact with our clients and address their needs. As you can see from this chart here, the clinical utility is growing exponentially in line with the number of beds we've implemented, and we had more than 170,000 assessments in that previous quarter, more than 650,000 assessments cumulatively, and I can tell you right now we're heading towards that 1 billion assessments. So the growth is stunning, and it reflects the universal application of our products. Finally, the last thing we do is we provide support and insights, and those insights are really, really good. We provide our clients things like reports on a regular basis as to how they're managing pain. This chart, the bottom right-hand side here, shows residents going from mild pain, moderate pain, and severe pain at a point in time, and how their pain level is 24 hours later. Yeah, and as you can see, in most cases, they're dropping, decreasing, and every now and then they could be increasing, but at least we give our clients visibility to what's happening. This gives them insights they've never had before, and means we're not just a pain assessment app, we're actually a real value-added service and support company. Now, we're making also very good progress in other markets. So very quickly on home care, we just signed our first reseller integration partnership with a total pain management system company in the home care environment. We will be announcing that very soon. We're finalising the communication with our partner, but that really takes us into the home care market. Our work with Ramsay Hospitals continued positively, and that will be reported early next year. And the disability work at Nelson has now been completed. We're finalising the actual documentation. We're engaging with them, and we're looking to actually communicate that very, very soon as well. That will lead to broadening out the use of PainChek into broader disability usage. So that's a really good expansion for us as well in 2022. The other thing as well is our brand awareness is really driving new opportunities all the time, which are happening on a global basis. This is a real quick summary on our home care opportunity. So partnerships, where we're going to the marketplace is through partnerships and direct selling. And the really interesting part here is that the top 25 home care providers are within residential aged care facilities, and they control 44% of all home care packages. Now, PainChek, we already have license agreements with 13 of those aged care providers who do home care as well, and our first focus is to work with them. So we're actively right now talking to a number of these clients to transition them from having aged care programs with us, but also into home care as well. And again, we'll report more on that in the next period. We see this market being similar size, at least, to the aged care market, and again, being 100 to 200 billion global market opportunity. This is a summary of progress in global markets. Our goal is to be a global business. So we've also made good progress in New Zealand with new sales, already in Singapore. We're looking to enter into Ireland right now with a partner, and our UK team is, I'll come on to in a second, but that's really now starting to pick up nicely. And the US, obviously, we are still working through our pre-submission for the FDA, and we see the clearance of that coming in Q2 or Q3 calendar year 2022. So global is our focus, and in terms of the UK, We've now hit more than 3,000 beds in the UK, fully implemented in Wales, England, and Scotland. And you can see here some of the comments from our clients. You know, it's not just as a great pain assessment tool, but it's about the outcomes of residents, improving health, improving nutrition, and also the teams love it as a new pain assessment tool. So this is part of our growth strategy. The final part I want to move to is the infant, and the infant app has now been released. It's been regulatory cleared in multiple markets, up to 6 markets, and we've had the publication in the Lancet Digital Health Journal, one of the most prestigious journals in the world. So we're targeting multiple sectors, which we'll come on to in a minute. But if you look at the market, it's significantly large. We see it with healthcare professionals, and we see it with direct parents. So 1% global market share would be a 330 billion annualized revenue, just 1% of that global market. And we've got a unique pain assessment tool that runs a 3-second video of the face to provide a carer with a level of pain based upon the procedural pain. So what are the opportunities here? We see 2 real main clinical areas. One is post-vaccination. Infants are given 5 vaccinations per annum. In Australia, we're about 95% fully immunised after 12 months. And of course, with COVID-19, infant vaccination coming up in the future, there's going to be even more complexity in that area. We have a unique pain assessment tool for infants to assess procedural pain, which is what a vaccination basically is. And this pain assessment can be conducted at the injection sites, and then post the injection site at home by mums and dads. So that's one big area we're focusing on. And the other area is post-operatively, say for things like post-tonsillectomy or post-op implantation for very young children. Finally, partnerships and licensing will be a key theme for us working with big therapeutic partners. So finally, onto our team. Our team is a very experienced team. It's very stable. It's been with us for the same team for the past 4 or 5 years. We've added a CFO. We've added the UK team leader. And we've got very, very strong commercial operation capabilities. Our board has remained the same for the past 5 years, again, strong venture capital, technology, and capital markets experience. Corporate summary, we have a market cap of around 50 mil, and I will say something about that, and that is that, you know, an ARR type company with $5 million ARRs we have today will typically be valued between 10 to 20 times the ARR. So we've only been valued around 10 times. And that's for 2% of the global markets, Australia, and just in aged care. So you can see the growth opportunity this business has. We have no debt, and we had $10 million, close to $10 million in cash as of 30th of September. Finally, this is the strategic pillars. The focus for us this year is implementing those 120,000 attractive beds on standard contracts and achieving that 5.5 mil. Expansion of the UK is key for us, and of course establishing broader market positions in those other markets such as New Zealand, Singapore and Canada. Second part of the strategy is to really build that home care and hospital sector, initially starting in Australia and New Zealand and then transferring it overseas. Disability was also a big opportunity for us. And finally, on the right-hand side, you know, commercializing the infant app with healthcare professionals and consumers. It's going to be a key focus for us going forwards, as well as getting the FDA clearance and broader entry into Europe and Asia. So this is the summary of our focus to become truly that global company and that global business. So what I'll do is I might just hold it here to take any questions.
Beautiful. Thanks, Philip. We have got a few questions rolling through. If you've got any other ones, put them in the chat now and we'll get to them. The first one is there any interest from UK or Canadian governments to partner with PainChek in a similar fashion to the Australian federal government previously?
And the answer to that is yes. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And we do have some contact. We do have some communications with governments in overseas. And as that comes through, I will communicate that.
Perfect. How long after a procedure would a parent be using the PainChek app to assess pain? Would these assessments be done unassisted in the home? And what would the parent do in response to a moderate/severe reading?
Good question. I guess that links to the infant. We've actually been working on that very clearly. So well, the way we see it is that let's take vaccination. Clearly there's initial pain. That's actually clear. That's how we validated the products. But then, as we know from our own, everyone has been vaccinated in the past year or so. Pain can linger with you for the next, and it's been well documented. Pain can linger post-vaccination for 7 to 10 days. So our model is simple. Our model is that the healthcare professional would actually assess an infant's pain prior to the infant leaving the clinic, and then be able to assess how much pain that child is in as a base level. And then our goal is to make for the healthcare professional to provide or guide the parents to take the PainChek access up. That can be downloaded as a course through the App Store. And then the parent would then monitor the child using the 3-second facial analysis. It's very simple, 3 seconds, and it gives you the score of pain, and they can then track it, and then they can be reporting it back, not just to the healthcare professional, but also for the safety work by the vaccine groups as well. So we see it for 10 to 14 days post-vaccination, post each vaccination. Again, with infants, there's probably going to be 2 or 3 COVID vaccinations, but with the other ones, they are for the first month of their life, and then subsequently we just see the app being used at home for parents full stop, because you keep a thermometer at home to measure your child's temperature. This is a great way of assessing a child or an infant's pain on a simple, regular basis as a home-based tool. I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely. And one last one to finish up, Philip. What is the main reason you're confident in the PainChek business as we approach the new year?
Main reason is we've got thousands and thousands of existing customers who are using it every day, who love it, who report back. This has actually been a boon to their usage. We've had 750,000 pain assessments conducted. It's miraculous. I've never seen such a fast growth of a novel technology in the markets. In fact, what we've done in 5 years is phenomenal, and especially the last 2 have been in a pandemic. So I would just go back to what I said originally. In fact, let me just go to this last slide. Is that within 5 years we've successfully commercialized the technology, and now on the cusp of establishing it in multiple international markets. And when we do that, one venture capitalist said to me, if you establish a product in Australia and you get into establishing one more international market, that's it. That's the job. All it is about them expanding. And I think we are a hairbreadth away from doing that.
Beautiful. Philip, thank you so much for your time today. I'm very keen to keep following this story and looking forward to how it pans out.
Thank you very much for your time.